During World War II, the United States Army relied on artillery as its primary source of battlefield firepower. From light mortars to super heavy siege guns, American artillery covered every range, role, and type of combat. These weapons were not isolated systems, but part of a coordinated fire support network. This video presents all artillery types used by the U.S. Army in World War II, organized by role and function. Field artillery. The 75mm M1897-4 was an American modified version of the famous French model 1897 field gun. Although outdated by World War II standards, it was still used by the U.S. Army in limited roles, mainly for training and rear area defense early in the war. The 75mm M1916 was a lightweight field gun designed to improve mobility compared to earlier artillery pieces. Its relatively low weight made it suitable for use in rough terrain, although its combat use during World War II was limited. The 75mm pack howitzer M1 was specifically designed for transport by pack animals, vehicles, or aircraft. It could be disassembled into multiple loads, making it ideal for airborne, mountain, and jungle warfare units. The 75mm howitzer M3 was a short-barreled artillery piece intended for close infantry support. Its compact size allowed rapid deployment and made it effective in environments where larger field guns were impractical. The 105mm howitzer M2A1 was the standard divisional artillery weapon of the U.S. Army during World War II. Known for its reliability and accuracy, it provided the majority of American indirect fire support on the battlefield. The 105mm howitzer M3 was a lightweight variant of the M2A1 developed for airborne forces. Its reduced weight allowed it to be transported by gliders, enabling artillery support immediately after airborne landings. The 155mm howitzer M1917 was based on a French design and provided heavy artillery support. It was used to engage enemy fortifications and deliver powerful high-explosive barrages over long distances. The 155mm howitzer M1918 was an improved version of the M1917, offering enhanced performance and reliability. It continued to serve alongside newer artillery systems throughout World War II. The 155mm howitzer M1, later designated M114, became the standard heavy howitzer of the U.S. Army. Its effectiveness ensured a long service life well beyond the end of World War II. The 155mm gun M1917 was a long-barreled artillery piece designed for counter-battery fire and long-range bombardment. It provided greater range compared to howitzers of the same caliber. The 155mm gun M1918 was an improved development of the M1917, featuring better mobility and firing characteristics. It remained a valuable long-range artillery asset during World War II. The 4.5-inch gun M1 was a medium artillery piece developed by the United States during World War II. It combined good range with manageable mobility, filling the gap between lighter field guns and heavier artillery. Self-propelled artillery. The 75mm howitzer motor carriage M8, also known as the M8 Scott, mounted a 75mm howitzer on a tracked chassis. It provided mobile artillery support to armored and reconnaissance units, especially in the early stages of the war. The 105mm howitzer motor carriage M7, nicknamed Priest, was one of the most important American self-propelled artillery vehicles of World War II. It allowed artillery to keep pace with armored advances and deliver rapid fire support. The 105mm howitzer motor carriage M37 was developed later in the war as an improved replacement for earlier systems. It featured better crew protection and mobility while maintaining the firepower of the 105mm howitzer. The 155mm gun motor carriage M12 mounted a long-range 155mm gun on a tracked chassis. It was primarily used for counter-battery fire and the destruction of fortified enemy positions. The 155mm gun motor carriage M40 was an improved successor to the M12. With better mobility and reliability, it became one of the most effective heavy self-propelled artillery systems used by the U.S. Army. The 155mm howitzer motor carriage M41, nicknamed Gorilla, mounted a heavy howitzer on a tracked chassis. It provided powerful indirect fire support during late war operations in Europe. Anti-tank guns. The 37mm anti-tank gun M3 was the standard American anti-tank gun at the beginning of World War II. Although effective against light armor, it quickly became inadequate against newer enemy tanks. The 57mm anti-tank gun M1 was the American version of the British 6-pounder. It offered significantly improved armor penetration and became the primary U.S. anti-tank gun during the middle years of the war. The 3-inch anti-tank gun M5 was a powerful towed anti-tank weapon capable of defeating heavy enemy armor. Its size and weight limited mobility, but provided strong defensive firepower. The 76mm anti-tank gun M7 was developed late in the war, but saw limited service. Despite its performance, changing battlefield conditions reduced the need for new towed anti-tank guns. Anti-aircraft artillery. The 20mm Oerlikon was a widely used automatic anti-aircraft cannon adopted by the U.S. Army during World War II. It was effective against low-flying aircraft and also proved useful in a ground support role. The 37mm anti-aircraft gun M1 was an early American medium-caliber anti-aircraft weapon. While conceptually sound, mechanical issues limited its effectiveness, leading to improved follow-up designs. The 37mm anti-aircraft gun M2 was a refined version of the M1, offering improved reliability and performance. It provided better defense against aircraft operating at low to medium altitudes. The 40mm Bofors M1 became the most effective medium anti-aircraft gun used by U.S. forces. Renowned for its firepower and reliability, it formed the backbone of American air defense units. The 3-inch anti-aircraft gun M3 was a heavy anti-aircraft weapon used to engage high-altitude bombers. It also demonstrated effectiveness in a secondary ground fire role when needed. The 90mm anti-aircraft gun M1 represented a major advancement in American air defense capability. Its high-altitude reach and fire control integration made it a formidable weapon. The 90mm anti-aircraft gun M2 was an improved version of the M1, offering enhanced range and accuracy. It became one of the most important heavy anti-aircraft guns of the late war period. Mortars. The 60mm mortar M2 was a standard light mortar of the U.S. Army. It provided infantry units with immediate indirect fire support at short ranges. The 60mm mortar M19 was a later development designed to improve portability and handling. It allowed infantry units to deploy mortar fire more quickly and flexibly. The 81mm mortar M1 was the primary medium mortar of U.S. forces. It delivered powerful explosive fire and played a crucial role in infantry support operations. The 81mm mortar M29 was a lighter and more portable version of the M1. It was particularly useful for airborne and light infantry units. The 4.2-inch mortar M1 was a heavy mortar originally designed for chemical warfare, but widely used with high explosive rounds. It provided powerful indirect fire at medium ranges, siege and super heavy artillery. The 8-inch howitzer M1 was a heavy siege artillery piece designed to destroy reinforced concrete fortifications. It fired massive high explosive shells and was used primarily against bunkers, defensive lines, and fortified positions in Europe. The 240mm howitzer M1 was the heaviest artillery weapon fielded by the U.S. Army during World War II. Its immense firepower was reserved for the most heavily fortified targets, where precision and raw destructive force were required. Coast artillery. The 155mm gun M1918M, one mounted on a Panama mount, was a mobile coastal defense gun. It allowed the U.S. Army to rapidly deploy heavy artillery to protect harbors, ports, and key coastal installations. The 6-inch gun M1905 was a fixed coastal artillery weapon designed to engage enemy surface vessels. During World War II, it formed part of the permanent defensive network protecting American and Allied coastlines. The 12-inch mortar M1890 was a massive coastal defense mortar designed to fire shells in high arcs onto enemy ships. Though technologically old, it remained in service guarding key coastal approaches during the war. Railway artillery. The 8-inch railway gun M1888 was an American heavy artillery piece adapted for rail transport. During World War II, it was used primarily for coastal defense, training, and strategic fire support, where fixed heavy guns were required.